Hello, everyone, and welcome to National Inventor Club. I'm your founder, Brian Freed, and we are in September 2024. Boy, is this year flying. You know what? We have great guests on where we talk about prototyping and patenting and marketing and all different kind of topics to help us through our inventions. But sometimes we need to take a mental break. We need to think about how to get through the challenges, the trials, tribulations. Look at all the things that we have to do as inventors. So, you know what? I brought on David Meltzer. He is a truly unique guy. He is very active on social media. Him and I have connected, and I'm proud to have brought David with us tonight. So, David, thank you very much for joining us on National Inventor Club.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with the most innovative, creative entrepreneurs that I can find with the NIC. So thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. And I have to say, through National Inventor Club our Inventor Smart Community app, we definitely have some very creative people that are at all different stages of their inventions, David. Some people have an idea in their head. Maybe they're somewhere through the process and they're kind of stuck somewhere. Maybe they're not sure about selling their invention to somebody, licensing to earn royalties, manufacturing and starting their own business and becoming that entrepreneur. And that's why I felt like it was a perfect match to have you on. And I also got a chance to see you on Elevator Pitch, which is an amazing show. So David, if you don't mind just taking a moment and talking to the audience, telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I was blessed to live in three different time zones. The first was this world of not enough, which I'm sure a lot of the inventors are familiar with. I grew up with a single mom who raised 6 kids under the guise doctor, lawyer, failure. But I was one of those innovators, entrepreneurs, creatives, and I didn't conform to the standard professional lifestyle. Although I did go to law school, I wanted to buy my mom a house and a car, so I always wanted to make a lot of money. So instead, I got involved out of law school in technology in 1992, when the internet itself was an invention and innovation. In fact, my mom told me in 1992 when I graduated law school that if I wasn't a real lawyer, I was making the biggest mistake of my life working in the internet because it was a fad. It would never last. Even to aggregate and compound that belief system, just to give people an idea that are inventors, when people laugh at you, scoff at you, and make fun of you, and think you're crazy for some sort of innovation or inventor, Justice Scalia in 1993, when I showed him and demonstrated legal research online for the very first time in DOS on a 9600 baud modem, he said to me, "Nobody will ever do research on a computer. You need books." And to give you a little mindset about paying attention to what other people think as an inventor, it's very important that we know the process that people will laugh at you, scoff at you, and make fun of you, and eventually applaud you. Well, needless to say, I made my first $1 million within my first year. In 1995, we exited for $3.4 billion to Thomson Reuters. And that's when $1 billion was a lot of money in 1995. I then went up to the Silicon Valley and raised hundreds of millions of dollars for middleware, transcoding the internet onto WAP phones, our flip phones. And then by the time I was 31, I was a multimillionaire. I had the world's first convergence device, which I got manufactured by Samsung. It was the world's first Windows CE device. And I was an inventor and an innovator in the phone space, which led me, ironically, to run the most notable sports agency in the world, because Lee Steinberg, who they made the movie Jerry Maguire about, he was looking for someone that not only had a law degree and understood sports, but understood venture capital and technology. And he saw the future of sports in the early 2000s in venture and technology. So in 48 hours after meeting the man, I became the CEO of the most notable sports agency in the world, which led me to partner with Warren Moon, one of our partners, the Hall of Fame quarterback, to run the largest global sports marketing company called Sports One Marketing, which then led me to be a consultant with Gary Vaynerchuk and his sports agency, and he taught me media. So I've been, over the last 7.5 years, in the inspirational, aspirational content business, TV shows, movies, a lot of Instagrams and digital content like this. So that's where I've led today. But now I am blessed to be on a mission of empowering over 1 billion people to be happy and abundant. In the interim, by the way, I lost all my money and made it back 17 years ago. I left that part of the story out, which is very important to inventors. Things don't always work out the way you think they're going to.
And one thing that there's many things, but one thing that I really admire about you, David, is you've been there, done that, and you didn't have to be on tonight, but you are on this mission to share your journey, to share your story, and you continue to bring out the best in people, including your books. You have 2 #1 best-selling books, and you also have Elevator Pitch, which is almost like, I don't want to say it, but kind of its own Shark Tank, which is fantastic. And it's just homegrown inventors, entrepreneurs, inspiring, budding people that are coming up with ideas, business ideas, and you giving them that opportunity to showcase it.
Yes, I've been blessed. We actually have 3 first best-selling books, and we have TV shows on Apple like Entrepreneur's Elevator Pitch, their #1 digital show, Office Hours, and now I also have 2-Minute Drill, which is a pitch competition, which I invite all the inventors to come. And then we also now have Go Fund Yourself, another TV show, which allows unaccredited investors to real-time invest and purchase products. So if any of those interests, please email me directly. We'd love to have more contestants on our shows.
Thank you. David, the inventors out there, we're at some point in our invention journey, just like you were on your journey. And there's times where maybe we're not sure what to do next, who to go to, who to trust. Maybe we're at a point where we're making several iterations of a prototype that is just not hitting the spot. Frustrated, upset, angry, money, time, energy, effort invested. What are some tips to overcome that? Because I guess there's 2 different ways to look at it, David. What's your take on that?
You know, for me, I use a combination of wisdom and faith in order to get me to where I want to be or better. And so the best way to utilize wisdom and faith is to be committed, non-negotiably committed to the behaviors that create success in your pursuit of whatever it is you're trying to invent. And so I have created 5 daily practices that says, what do I want today, according to the circumstances of the day, to put it down into the reality of today and the time, the 24 hours that I'm given, but also to seek the lessons, the wisdom of the past. You see, a lot of people limit their future by limiting the meaning that they give their past, the failures, the setbacks, the mistakes, as you suggest that every inventor goes through. We have to make sure that we're aligning the light, the love, and the lessons, the meaning of our past, with where we think we want to be or better. But we also have to maintain our self-image, because as inventors, you will never overachieve your own self-image. And so if we don't have alignment of the meaning of the past and our self-image, we won't maintain the consistent, persistent pursuit of what we dream of. And then the next step, after knowing what we want in those circumstances, we want to know who we can help and who can help us. The fastest way to get your invention to where you want it to be is find someone that's already there, ask them for help, but don't forget to help someone get to where they want to be. And then the how becomes a matter of time and activities, negotiable and non-negotiable, planned and unplanned, and even your sleep. We make sure recovery and access of information is a critical component of your success. And now the major component is called prioritization. I was saying, if you learn to prioritize, it's the antidote to the 2 biggest interferences of being an inventor: feeling overwhelmed and procrastination. And if you know how to prioritize, you'll never feel overwhelmed. It's impossible. And you won't procrastinate, because you'll know what to do now. You'll know what to do next. 100% of the things that you do now get done. Same with the things that you do next. And so instead of searching for what other people want, what's missing and you don't have in the invention process, you actually will be applying your why, not searching for it. And we all know if our purpose is greater as inventors, if our purpose is greater than the failures, setbacks, and mistakes that we've made, the pain that we suffer, we will never quit. And sooner or later, what we want or better will arrive in our life, guaranteed.
It's interesting, David, because you mentioned a couple keywords there: successes, failures, keep going, and then self-image. What's interesting is that there are inventors, including myself, that sometimes it's almost like an ego thing where we say, I have to keep going. This is the one. This is going to change my life. I want to be a gazillionaire and I want to keep going. I don't really care what anybody says. But it's about the ego versus your growth mindset to figure out. And you've spoken about this. That's why I love to pull it out and be able to have you share this with our community. When is it time? And you've done this before, David. You've started again many times. When is it the time to say, you know what? Let me just take a break here. I know there's some challenges coming along. Is this something that I should continue with? Should I continue to put my assets, my resources, my personal self into this? Or should I just stop? Am I a quitter? Did I fail? What is it, David?
What a great question. And it's the struggle of every single entrepreneur and inventor. So there's several different things to analyze or take inventory of to help you reconcile this idea of quitting or not quitting. So first of all, I do a constant assessment of my timing and risk tolerance. So I make sure that the activities that I have, paid or unpaid, are aligned with my timing and risk tolerance, which are determined upon the circumstances of the day. Secondly, I don't attach myself to an entity or an outcome. I take inventory and attach myself to my skills, my knowledge of who and what, and my desires aligned with my timing and risk tolerance. And then I see how synergistic, supplementary, aligned my skills, knowledge, and desire and my timing and risk tolerance are with three things: what is doing well today, what is stable today, and what I think will be doing well in the future. And so what happens in the persistent, consistent pursuit of my potential, the investment, the innovation or invention, is that by detaching myself, my ego from an outcome, I'm growing, as you stated. I'm growing my skills, my knowledge, and my desires, and I'm constantly re-engineering and realigning with the actual circumstances of today, my timing and risk tolerance, and what's doing well, what's stable, or what I think is doing well. And so therefore, I'm expanding with the only certainty of the future, which is when I make a decision to move forward, when I come to an agreement, whether it's verbal, written, or implied, even with investment or consideration, I know that time, emotion, and value change instantly. So through the inventory of the skills, knowledge, and desire, timing and risk tolerance of what's doing well, what's stable, and what I think is going to do well, I'm actually maximizing the alignment and adjustment to the actual changes that occur to us every day. It's instant that time, emotion, and value will change regardless of what we decide to do today.
It's so interesting, David. We're at all different stages. We have all these different thoughts going into our head. And you said quite a bit from just this past part of your kind of lesson for us. You said the word me and I quite a bit. But when do we listen to other people? When do we take their feedback? And do we take their opinion to heart? Do we really want to listen to what they have to say? Because it might be painful. Or it might be, hey, Brian, you know what? That's a great idea. Keep going. They pat you on the back and make you feel great. Because if they told you that your idea sucks or your business sucks, you're probably not going to talk to them anymore. So they have more to lose, right? And that probably will burn that relationship. But David, how do we politely ask for people's feedback and get the truth and then help us to make a better decision if we should move forward or not.
First of all, be careful of ignorant arrogance when you're asking for advice or asking for help or receiving advice or receiving help. What do I mean by that? Well, the obvious are the ignorant, arrogant people that are projecting onto you by putting you down and being a naysayer because they don't believe in themselves. And they may not know what they're talking about. I always say, just because someone loves you doesn't mean they give you advice. And those are the ignorant, arrogant people that we have to be most weary of. What do I mean by that? That some of the people in our lives that don't care about us are going to attack us, and we have to let those people go. You know, we see them on social media. I call them haters. Those people, I give them no energy at all. But the most dangerous people as inventors are the people that care most about us. And let me tell you why. Because they're the most ignorant, arrogant people. So if we take my mother, for example, I have a Jewish mother who thinks far too highly of me. I'm a 56-year-old mama's boy. Her talents are waking me up early and Jewish guilt. She has a 3rd-degree black belt in guilt. But more importantly, the problem with my mom's advice to me is it's based off of the greatest fear ever, because she is more afraid for me and my life than she is for her own. And so when she gives me advice, it's tainted, maybe without situational knowledge, but worse, it's tainted that she's so afraid that I'm going to fail. She's so afraid to have pain in my life. She's going to only give me advice to protect me, to keep me secure. That's not aligned with an inventor's journey. And so what we want to do is make sure we take advice and consultants with a handful of sand. Always be appreciative of anyone that's willing to give you their opinion, but only hold on to the grains of sand from qualified individuals that sit in a situation that you want to be in, that have actual situational knowledge and experience and relationships pertaining to your invention. And then if that advice resonates with you, and let me give you a little secret. When I tell people, hold on to advice that resonates with you, it's not just the encouragement that resonates with you. For example, I capture quotes that resonate with me. One of my favorite quotes in the world is, "You're either humble or you're about to be." And I love that quote. But I've also learned over the years with people who sit in a situation that I want to be in, that have relationships and experience where I want to be, if they tell me advice that I don't agree with, but it resonates strongly with me, going, "Oh, that guy's an idiot. What a dumb thing to," if I get myself into that position, I go ahead and do more research about that point that I resonate negatively or disagree with, because I want to find out why the universe is telling me that it's carrying enough energy to piss me off. And so I not only seek advice that I agree with, but when I don't agree strongly, I make sure I do my research, especially when it comes from someone that sits in the situation I want to be in, relationship and situational knowledge wise. I make sure I pay attention and give intention to that advice, especially.
This is some great information, and it's amazing that we have you on National Inventor Club. We really appreciate you joining us. We have less than 10 minutes of your time to continue to pick your brain. Right after your interview here, we're going to be hearing from SCORE, from U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, several inventors, some of our sponsors. So as much time as we have here with you, David, I'd love to still keep picking your brain.
Please.
One of the big questions, since you're an investor, you have the show Elevated Pitch, which I love. Tell us, is there a point where we present a prototype, we have a finished product with no distribution, maybe we started selling, but we're not into this whole distribution thing and our sales aren't that great, and then we want to call an investor to kind of take it and run with it, or we're asking for more money so we can market and other various initiatives that we like to do. From the mindset of an investor, David, are you into kind of taking a product just from an idea in our head, or how developed does it need to be? And what makes you make that decision if it's something that you want to work with or not?
Well, first, for me as an investor in the different funds that I am a GP and an LP in, they are all aligned with a timing and risk tolerance. They have a format of what they will invest in and what the timing and risk tolerance is. And so you want to find an investor that's aligned with where you're at. So much time, emotion, value, and money is wasted by inventors trying to raise money from people that are never going to give them money because they're not aligned with where the investor timing and risk tolerance is, where their criteria. So the first thing that you want to do as an investor when you're seeking investment is to be more interested than interesting. So you want to find out, what type of investments are you doing today? What ones do you like? Which ones don't you like? Which ones have worked out? Which ones haven't worked out? Because value and investment and value are a relationship that must be analyzed. Value is only conveyed in two ways. One, giving someone more of what they like, or two, taking away what someone doesn't like or part of what they don't like. So if you don't know what they're doing today investment-wise, if you haven't found out what works and doesn't work, what they like and doesn't like, you're shooting in the dark. And so as an inventor, you want to make sure there's investors, including I, that will invest in every stage of a business, but they have a criteria of what they like and don't like, what works and doesn't work. And if the inventor, the innovator, the entrepreneur does not seek that knowledge by being more interested than interesting, by asking what's going on today and what works and doesn't work, you are putting yourself into a position to waste your time, emotion, value, and money. And so I highly encourage inventors, especially if you're seeking investment, to do your due diligence about which investors are aligned with where you are today and the capabilities that you have. So that is the variance that inventors who are very excited. You know, one of the biggest detriments of being an inventor is being in love with your product. Being in love with your product is a very dangerous thing. It is almost a recipe for disaster. So you need to understand not only the reasons why and quantify the reasons why someone would invest, the impact that would have, the capabilities that you have, but also your credibility of being honest with where you're at today and what value you have, and then look at the emotional connection to you and your product and others in your product. Because yes, people do buy on emotion for logical reasons, but there still needs to be alignment of those logical reasons with the credibility, reasons, impacts, and capabilities. And you or someone in your organization needs to be able to articulate that quantitative value to exceed what you're asking for.
It seems like from what you said that as much as you research us, we need to research you.
Fantastic.
Is it something that you're into? Once I end up receiving money from you, an investment from you, are you going to run the company or am I? You know, a lot of times people say, oh, yeah, they're going to give me money and that's it. That's all I need to do is I'll just earn. No, they're probably going to give you money to run the company. So are you qualified? Or is it something that you might want to instead license to earn royalties and kind of have professionals or people that are in that business already manufacture, distribute, and you earn a royalty? But on the investor side, David, how important is intellectual property protection, a patent? If I'm patent pending, or if I have an issued patent, does that make a difference for you?
In certain circumstances, it does. And the circumstance that it does is when somebody can afford to protect that patent. Just having a patent or a patent pending or utility patent means very little to me if you don't have the capability of defending it. And so I look for a further capability beyond the patent. You're better off investing your time, emotion, money, and value outside of the patent to build the capability to defend one before you get it. Now, if it's strictly an IP play, if it's only about the intellectual property and you're going to, before needing to protect it, license it or sell it, then it becomes much more valuable to me than being able to protect the intellectual property, if the intellectual property itself is the business, is the asset. And so taking into account the circumstances of the intellectual property, there's a different value that I give to the IP or the ability or capability of protecting that IP.
And it sounds like most of the time, and even when I'm calling and looking to license products, most of the time they're looking for a patent, they're looking for an issued patent, or at least a good amount of intellectual property protection. Maybe you did a good patent search and you filed a provisional patent application and your patent pending. But what is it that's going to give you or us a competitive advantage in the market, whether it's a business or a product? So I hear what you're saying. David, I know you're limited on time with us. There are, like I started off, inventors, entrepreneurs, innovators, whatever we want to call ourselves. Some people don't call themselves inventors, and they came up with a great idea and they said, I don't look at myself like that. But whatever we call ourselves, we're creative, we're innovative, we're at all different stages of our lives and business. What are some final words of wisdom from you, David?
Yeah, I will tell you a couple wise words. Number one, I'd like to offer your entire community my book. I would love to send it to everyone.
Wow.
Just email me. I'll pay for shipping, pay for the book. I'll sign it. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Put that in the notes. I'll send everyone and pay for shipping in the book, my book. But the advice that I have is simple. Be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self. Continually do good deeds. Make sure that you pray for at least 10 people a day that can help you, but also pray for at least 10 people a day that you can help. And I promise you that you will move your invention, your business, and your personal life into a divine direction. All the detours, mistakes, setbacks, and failures will be divine detours. And the time that it takes to be fulfilled, passionate, purposeful, and even profitable will come in divine time by surrendering with a free will and a consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential. Please reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com. God bless everyone. Continue to co-create. The world will be saved by our inventors. I promise you, someone out there will fill the hole in our atmosphere. Someone out there will turn plastic to food. Some of these major issues will be solved by you in this community, the National Inventor Club. Thanks for having me.
David, thank you so much. Appreciate you. We will keep in touch. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. All right. That was inspirational. I hope it helped all of you. We will see you all again very soon. Thank you. Keep moving your ideas forward and have a great night.